Daddy, when you were little, did you have to work?
Uh, if I wanted any money for myself, I had to work, because my father only made around $12.50 a week for a 50-hour week.
Sure.
And they'd take we lived in a 4-room house, so they took $1 rent out on that. And there was 2 of us boys then, and he gave my mother the $10. He kept $1.50, gave us a nickel apiece. And if we got any more money outside of that, we had to work. And the one way when he always had a big garden, we would pick his tomatoes, sell a bucket full for a dime, enough to get us 2 Pepsis. And then...
Did he know you were doing it?
Yeah, I guess he did.
Oh, okay.
He didn't say anything. Then when I started to school, they had a schoolhouse that had stoves in it. And I would go up every morning at 7 o'clock and build fires in 4 of the rooms. And another boy with me, would build fires in the 4 upstairs rooms. And I don't remember what we made. We made a little money. And then when I was about 12, I got a job in a grocery store, working after school, and all day on Saturday. I made 50 cents a week for that. Mm. And when I started to work in 1940, I started at 25 cents an hour. I made $10 a week.
That was in the mill?
Mm-hmm.
What job did you start out on?
I started out in the weave room. And I was really a trainee. I actually had to run the jobs. And a spare hand's what I was. That's what they call us. And one day we might be filling batteries, or the next day we'll end up filling, or just whatever job they needed, where somebody would probably be out and they'd use us to fill in their jobs.
Yeah, I've done that.
And I worked there until 41, and went in service at 41. And when I came back in late 45, they were on strike. And they still gave us our 90 days after the strike was over to report back to work. So I went back to work, and they gave me a job, about the same type job that I had when I left. And I went from the weave room. One of the assistant overseers recommended me to go into the industrial engineering department. And I stayed in there 5 or 6 years. And then they wanted me to go into the planning department.
What was that?
That was in the finishing and dyeing plant part of it. Oh. We did outside work for other people, finished and dyed their cloth. And I work with the outside people.
Mm.
Let me ask you one just very direct question. If you were asked what they were striking for in 1934, what would you answer?
Probably better living conditions.
Just say, I think the strike in 34.
I think the strike in 34 was to improve living conditions, plus getting them out of control in people's life.
Well, you had some things you wanted to say about the politics.
You can talk to me after this.
Okay. Well, you wouldn't think that people were real strong political-wise back then, but they were. The overseer of the spinning room was a Republican. The overseer of the weave room was a Democrat. So when I went to work, I was put on in the weave room. And way back when I was young and in the Boy Scouts, my father and his brother were born Republicans. And they both switched. And my daddy worked in the spinning room where the overseer was a Republican. So he fired my daddy because he switched over to the Democrat Party. And the overseer in the weave room, who was a Democrat, told him if he didn't put him back to work, he would hire him in the weave room. So they put him back to work.
That's crazy.
This had nothing to do with the owner.
No, no.
Just say this had nothing to do with
Nothing. This had nothing to do with the owner or the manager. It was the overseers, like the overseer of the spinning. Now he run the spinning room. Of course, he always had to answer to that suit and tender, but he was like king of the spinning room.
You could hire and fire, and
Yes. Mm-hmm.
unless you got specific orders from upstairs to fire somebody or
Right.
keep them.
He could hire and fire.
Now, could talk about religion in the mills.
Well, the company owned all the land that the churches were on. I believe there are 7 churches in this town of around 2,000 people. The original churches, the land and the house that the parsonage is on, the land was owned by the company, but the church and the parsonage itself was owned by the churches. They did not push religion that I know of in the plant.
Did they ever use religion against the union?
No, not that I know of.
Could you say they never used religion against the union?
They did not use religion against the union.
I'm sorry, could you say I don't ever recall them using religion against the union in Cooley.
I don't recall that they ever used religion against the union in Cooley.
Okay. Judy,
Yes.
are you happy?
Oh, yeah. Maybe we can talk a little bit about your union activity in relation to Cindy's.
Yeah, good. Okay.
But it's really helpful for me to see your face, so you could direct yourself towards George.
Okay. When I came back from service, the union was best thing that was just get going good then, and I joined the union and stayed in it till I went into industrial engineering. All supervisors and clerks could not belong to the union, and my daddy was a supervisor. He also didn't belong to the union. But my mother, even though he was a supervisor, still belonged to the union. And my wife belonged to the union. It was almost a closed shop, probably 80-some% of the people. But you didn't have to go to the union to get a job.
Now, why that was union was much stronger here in Cooley than almost anywhere else in North Carolina. Why do you think that was?
Well, it was because I think this union in Cooley was stronger because everybody knew everybody. There wasn't a person in this town that I didn't know, how many children they had or nothing else. And the other reason is because how people felt that they were just white slaves. I think that's the biggest thing that helped the union here.
Let me suggest something, and it may not be, if you're not true, Don, but it seems to me that you had a better quality of leadership in the union here than in a lot of other places. Could you talk about the people who took responsibility for the union here?
In our union, we had a business agent. It was my cousin to start with. He's the one that threw the engineer out of the window. He was a business agent, and he was a real hard worker at it. And he was fairly smart. He had no college, but he'd been in the Navy for about 8 years. And I reckon he got a lot of education out of the Navy. And then when he left, another boy took the business agent. And he also put a lot of time into it. And we had where we could arbitrate. And this union had the money that if an arbitration come up, they had the money to pay the arbitrators to come in and take care of it. And the company got more lenient after the union was formed too.
Okay, anything else?
Cindy, is this news to you?
Yeah. I never really knew that my family was even involved in the union. As a matter of fact, I always thought they were antis, kind of looked down on me for my union activities. But, this is real big news to me. I found out my grandfather helped organize. My father was in the union, my mother.
Well, I was only in the union so long, but I seen what it did for this town. And I will not kick a union. I never have. I think maybe some of them maybe got a little out of hand, I don't know, but it really helped this town. It pulled it out of the backwoods, you might say.
Now, when you were going to school, did you get any education about unions?
No.
Say that.
I didn't even know a union existed. I didn't have any education about a union. But, I can tell the difference between when I was growing up and when Daddy was growing up, and it looks like the union made that difference. Because it was none of this superintendent running the town or anything like that. I think that's great.
Cut. Okay, I think we've got it.
Hold on.
Okay. We've got enough nutties?
Yeah.
Okay. What I mean by nutties, you've got 1 minute, you see? Why don't you get nutties on that?
George.
Yeah?
Did you tell us all about where the union office was?
No, we'll get that when we go.
Okay.
Could you be looking at...
Could you just look at her and sort of, as if you're listening?
Oh,
Turn
okay.
towards her, not act like you're sort of like
Okay.
Yeah,
deeply engrossed in
like that, or
conversation.
can you nod at me?
Yeah.
I remember this from the last time.
Yeah.
This lady's done this before.
I'm an experienced naughty.
Got her.
Did it blow a whistle?
It blows inside the plant.
whether I work or not, I don't know. Oh no, it's been a big change.
Rolling? Yeah.
What time is that funeral going?
2 o'clock.
So what time we gonna get together? That's been my week. Hopping on television. Hopping on television. So that would be hopping on television. How about that? Yeah, like that. I'm complaining about that. There you go.
Boogie in front.
Just mingle, right? Yeah, just a little chat, that's it. Right there.
Come on up.
Hey, Johnny. Thank you so much.
How you doing,
Good balance.
Hi, I'm Mary.
I'm sorry, that's Mary. That's Mary.
Hi, how you doing?
Judy?
You heard you left?
Steps in Greensboro.
Good.
Put a check in the mail. Forget the letters.
Corporate headquarters.
What's so important about now writing all these letters when the letters should have been written was
Well,
when they-
everybody's telling me that the letters are making them look guilty, instead if they were
That's
doing what they
exactly
were
what I
supposed to
said.
be doing.
Yeah, isn't that
Great.
Instead of writing all the
So
letters,
you
what they ought
gonna
to
lead
do
some
is
kind of
just,
discussion?
if they're not guilty, they can just sit back.
They should have
You
written
can
it
talk
to
plant
get
rules
that
or
point
something,
across. It would have been
Talk about
right
Randy's
now.
grievance he
It
had.
would have been right
Right.
now. Unless they knew they
Huh?
Well, everybody that I've talked to has said that they're showing guilt.
What how's things now? I mean, is it better? Seem to be an attitude change of supervisor?
You know, we never
I
got
heard
that
Barbara
bad
said cuts
down
is totally different.
in 2 months.
Walk
Yeah.
the store and, you know,
The first shift supervisor out there is totally different too.
oh.
Jim Taylor, he's, we filed a couple grievances, you know, for, you and, what's his name? Walls, Gene Walls. And
Gene Walls,
yeah, and Jim's just been just as nice as he can be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he has his whole attitude.
Okay.
Well, thank you for this.
You're welcome.
Yeah. See, they gonna see that lady, so that's the lady we want to
Right on. Where you at? Working at cornmeal.
Working at Stoneville.
They hit the lottery, you gonna get the hell out of home.
What's on there? Don't come cornmeal somewhere
I
else.
heard that. Good.
Grab your chair, brother.
I need to wait a minute before you listen to my
No, I was getting ready to say, do you want a chair to put your leg in?
No, I ain't gonna be here that long yet.
I don't know.
They ain't Baltimore union job, what they having trouble with?
Money, that's what.
Oh.
Okay, Jim. We can start.
The house is all on.
Oh.
I know everybody lives in it.
You know, but
Doing some stuff at my grandma's house, and I was talking to my daddy and my grandma, and they were telling us what it was like to, before the unions came in, what it was like to work for the company. Said that the plant superintendent more or less ran the company, ran the town. You know, if you wanted a place to live, you had to go to him and ask him. And if he wanted you to have a house, you could have a house. If he didn't, then you didn't get one. And he put you at whatever part of town he wanted to put you in. You know, if he said, like, if he liked Brenda, he'd put her in a good section of town. If he didn't like you, then he'd put you in a bad section of town. You know, everything depended on that.
Well, I'm glad he liked me.
You know, and they said that when my grandfather was made a supervisor, my grandmother said that one day men from the company came to the door one day, knocking on the door, said, "We're here to remodel your house," you know, because he'd been made supervisor. So they didn't have any choice in the matter. They came in, remodeled their house, and their rent went up. Automatic. You know, and I just wonder, you know, if it was like that around here too.
was you working here before the union?
Yeah.
Well, tell us some things.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want to know? I worked here.
Well, we want to
Was
know
it-
from the
was it
beginning.
I come to work here in 1946.
Was it like that here?
Some of the things was still like that, yeah. But when I came to work here, Claude Morris owned a mill, and it was not cone mill. It was Salisbury mill. And they had a company store right here in this building.
That's great.
And I've come to this building and got 2 gallons of cans of kerosene and carried them back in the plant to wash and clean the machinery with.
Well, when did it turn to coal mills?
Well, Cone bought it out. They had stock in it, but they took over main stock in it when Mr. Claude Morris got real old, and right before he died. And his 2 sons, Stedman worked in Greensboro, and the other one worked here. for years.
What did it take to get a mill house?
Well, now, I don't know, my mother lived in a mill house when I was born. I was born in a mill house.
You still live in one, don't
Do
you?
you remember
I
what?
bought one.
Yeah. Did you have you always lived around here, right around this hill?
I was born right here.
You remember what it was like when you were little?
Yeah. It was back
That's not
when
bad.
I was little, when I was young, before the Depression, and when the Depression come, it was hard. It was hard.
How would you compare the pay now versus what you made then, as far as, I know it's different, but would it go as far?
Times are different. Pay back then would just about go like it is now, but it's a little harder now, I think.
So you
Because-
would say back then it was tough, but it's even harder now?
Yeah, but back then you couldn't afford nothing but pinto beans and fatback.
Okay, okay.
That's a fact.
Did you buy that? Did you have to buy that in the company store?
Well, yeah, we did.
Did you-
Until TC, our owner, opened up a store out here across the railroad.
Really?
Yeah.
How were the prices? Were they?
Well, now you could buy a slab of fatback this big and that big square for a dime. And stuff like that. But,
So was it-
But that was when times were hard. You didn't have many dimes.
Yeah.
Okay. What about heating supplies like kerosene, coal, or whatever, wood?
The mill, back then when Salisbury Mill had it, the mill furnished you with coal. They would bring a load of coal or a load of wood to your house and put it off and take it out of your pay.
How much was that?
I don't even know, but I do know that happened.
Okay.
The mill furnished you lights.
You didn't have to pay any power.
And back then, the mill had a, so to speak, a plant nurse, Miss Williams, and it was, if you didn't, and they had left-hand front porch lights.
Oh, okay.
So you couldn't use it in the house. And they furnished the porch light, and you kept it burning so that lady could see at night if somebody was sick. And if your light wasn't burning, she came by and reported it, your light must be burning.
Oh, that was one of the rules, per se, for her safety,
Wow.
etc. Hey, that's interesting.
It's real interesting.
But what about, were you around when it got to the point where were you seeing a major change in the way management was treating employees in the plant, or is there any difference comparing to when you first started and now, or in between, or your tenure with the company to this point?
When I came to work, the management, I believe, was a little tougher than they are right now.
Okay.
Because when they said something, they meant it. These guys, sometimes they say something they don't really mean.
This was before the union.
Yeah.
So do you believe the union has improved the working conditions, or it's pretty much the same as far as your opinion of working condition, the way you're treated?
Now, I'm going to answer that question. I worked for the same pay for years and years, and when the union came, my wages increased. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Good. Good. Okay. I don't have any more. Anybody else have any? Except
I do. I got a question. Some you was talking about